How to overcome shameful experiences. Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about how to overcome shameful experiences. Now, I'm not a psychologist or a therapist, so I'm not going to be able to give you like professional advice that will 100% work. So what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to share with you some experiences that I have been ashamed of and how I have helped deal with those things, kind of what I do when those memories come up and I start to feel bad about myself, all those kinds of things, and how those experiences and my methods and how they might actually help you. So before we get into this, please do leave a like on this video and please do subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you have any tips yourself or anything that you would like me to discuss in a future video, then please leave them down in the comment section. And if you have some stories yourself, then please also do leave those in the comments as well, because they might be able to help someone else out. Thank you so much. So the first thing that I think really helps, at least it's really helped me, is whenever I remember a shameful experience, an experience that I'm not happy about, I acknowledge how I'm feeling. So actually trying not to repress it is actually much better in my opinion. So I actually experience it. I feel the feelings within my body and accept the fact that I am ashamed. I feel ashamed right now of this past behavior that I have done, that I have displayed, that I'm ashamed of. And usually what I come to understand is that if I'm feeling ashamed about a certain past event, then it's usually down to the fact that I have not lived up to my own standards in some way, or I have done something where I really wasn't myself. So a lot of the most shameful experiences I personally have are when I was under the influence of alcohol, when I truly wasn't myself, when I was just in a completely different frame of mind because of the use of alcohol. So some of the most shameful experiences I've had of when I've been really drunk, usually I've also done something that I wasn't proud of. So this was like kissing or having any kind of physical contact with someone who I wasn't really that attracted to, but just did because I was drunk. A lot of those occasions were actually with men, and if you've been following my channel for a while, then you'll know that I'm a lesbian, so I was completely going against my own moral compass with what I believe to be right. And all of those experiences that I've had where I got too drunk or got too drunk and did something with someone who I wasn't attracted to, those are the experiences that really tend to haunt me. And it was all because I wasn't living up to my own moral compass, my own standards that I've set personally for myself. So I assume if you're watching this video, then you also have some kind of experience like that. Perhaps not drunken experiences, but where you've gone against your moral compass or where you haven't lived up to your own standards and you are ashamed of yourself because of that. So those are the things that I've personally felt ashamed of. So acknowledging that and thinking about that, and acknowledging the feeling and acknowledging the fact that I've even done something that I'm ashamed of is extremely important for me personally when it comes to coming to terms with these different events that I'm not happy with. So one of the methods that has also helped me is writing down the experience, and writing so in a way that you're not BSing yourself. Because sometimes people write with the intention to as if they're writing as if someone at some point is going to read it. So therefore you might alter the facts a little bit of what happened. And that's definitely something that I used to do. Like I used to have a journal when I was a teenager, and I would kind of write down things, but I would write it in a way that I would want other people to read it and not the actual truth, which is kind of like a weird thing to do to yourself, because let's be honest, no one really cares that much about your diary apart from maybe your annoying siblings and your parents, right? But even then, they don't care perhaps as much about your diary as what you do in your own life experience. Because as human beings, we are quite selfish, and we tend to care more about what's going on in our lives than in the lives of other people. And even if we do at some point gossip about other people or read people's diaries or whatever, it's usually very short-lived. It's usually like a funny little thing, but you don't tend to dwell on other people's experiences. We always tend to dwell on our own experiences, which in a way is kind of freeing when it comes to your own shameful experiences that you're not happy about, because no one's going to care about that more than you. So if you were around other people when, you did something that's shameful, like what I did, like at parties and stuff, those people probably don't think about it that much, right? You're the one that's going to think about it the most. No one cares as much as what you think that they do. So write down basically these experiences that you've had that you feel bad about, that you are ashamed of, and write it fully without lying to yourself or without the intention of someone else reading it. Write it out simply just for you, and discuss it. Write down absolutely everything that you can remember about that event. And even write down how you feel about it now, why you feel ashamed of it. That's also good as well. You want to write down your personal experience about that event now. So you want to be writing down how you feel about it. If those memories come up again, so let's say you thought about it today and you wrote it down today, and let's say in a couple of weeks' time you think about it again, write it down again. Like, write out what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, what you're remembering. And that will really help put things into perspective usually, because that's what I find when I journal, when I write down past experiences, whether they're good or bad. Once I've written it down, it actually puts things into perspective a lot more. And therefore, it kind of lessens it and it kind of makes it feel a lot less intense. So when you do write about these experiences, don't think of it as once and done, because for whatever reason, you might remember future things. You might remember things about those experiences in the future, or the old feelings might come up and you feel like you need to write it down again. So journaling and doing that and writing those experiences down is really, really important, I think. And that's what's really helped me. So the next thing that I want you to do and think about is to ask yourself a couple of questions. And the first question is what would I do if I was in the same situation today? So let's say you are put back in that experience, but with what you now know, how would you handle that situation? How would you handle yourself? What would you do? So something that I wrote down was about a past experience where I was at a friend's party. I got really drunk. I was just basically really inappropriate. I kissed someone who I wasn't really attracted to, but I was doing it kind of to prove a point, to prove that I wasn't gay, because I thought and I think people there knew that I was perhaps a lesbian. This was before I came out, so I was like about 18 at this point. So if I was in that situation today, I definitely would have wore different clothes. I definitely would have drank a lot less, perhaps nothing at all. And instead of focusing on trying to prove to other people in that situation that I wasn't gay, I would be walking around and talking to people who I haven't spoke to in a couple of years about how they're getting on, because these were people I went to school with and I hadn't seen them in a couple of years. So what I should have been doing, I should have been going around and asking people about their lives, what they were up to now, what they were studying, what they were hoping to do when they go to university. These were the things that I should have been doing, but instead I got really drunk and I was trying to prove to everybody that I wasn't gay because I was scared that they all thought I was gay, so I kissed a guy. So that's what I would do differently if I was in that situation again today. So that's a good question to ask yourself. What would you do differently? Because who knows, life might put you in the same kind of circumstance in the future. So it's important to know how you will conduct yourself if this kind of event ever happens again. So asking yourself, what would you do differently, is really, really important. And it helps the learning process of shameful experiences. Because the reason why those experiences exist and why we feel those emotions is to stop us from redoing those things in the future. So understanding what you would do differently is really, really important. So that leads me into my last point, and that's acknowledging not only that you are not perfect, but that everybody else as well is not perfect. We're all human beings, and human beings obviously are not perfect. We do make mistakes. No one is 100% guilt-free in their lifetime. We all make mistakes. We all do things that we're not proud of. Now, they might not necessarily be the same mistakes. So my mistakes might be a lot different from your mistakes. But we still do make mistakes. We do all have experiences from our past that we are ashamed of. Like, for example, perhaps you bullied someone at school and you feel really bad about doing that because at a later point you got bullied, or you had kids and they got bullied, and now you feel bad for your past behavior when you bullied someone. Another shameful experience that I can think of in my own life is going back to an ex who disrespected our relationship, going back to a toxic relationship. That's something that I regret doing. So even though all of our human experiences with shameful events that we've done may be different, or even the same, we are still all in the same boat, as in we have experiences that we are not happy with, that we are unhappy with how we conducted ourselves. And if you are watching this video, then I really, and perhaps you may have even searched for this video and found this video, then at least you are trying to evolve, you are trying to change, you are trying to at least fix what you did in some way. You're trying to overcome this situation instead of wallowing in it, because there are a lot of people that do have shameful experiences and then they let that just completely ruin their life, or they let it consume them, or they just hide it in a box and repress it. At least you are trying to overcome it and get through it, and to try and be better because of it. And if this experience that you've had, if other people were involved, let's say, and you still know these people and you still talk to them, then reach out to them and apologize, especially if you did do something to hurt people. Or you might apologize for the way that you conducted yourself at a certain event, or it could be something else. You know, if you still are around those people and you feel like one of the ways that can make you feel better is to be the bigger person about this and to apologize, then definitely go ahead and do so. Because at least then, if you've done all these things that I've told you to do, and you have also apologized to people, then you've done basically all you can, in my mind, to help you get over this kind of situation. The only thing that you might want to do, which I do recommend that you do as well, is if this is something that really, really is bothering you, then perhaps you might need to talk to a therapist about it. Please keep in mind that I am not a therapist. These are only tools and techniques that have personally helped me. If you would like to get in touch with me personally, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com/shop, and I shall talk to you guys again very soon. Goodbye, guys.